All right. Hello, Kessel Run viewers. My screen name is Covert Muffin, and we are going to be featuring off a race between two prolific, two runners who are nominated for having high skill cap, high capabilities within commentary, as well as just being two good looking dudes in general. Here we're going to be racing Dark Forces 2, and we're going to be featuring Alnak, who should be on the left-hand side of your screen, versus Ysalamiri, who is going to be on the right side of the screen. And so I'm going to be casting. I will apologize ahead of time. This is actually the one like Jedi Knight game that I have the least amount of experience with, but that's okay, chat. We're going to have fun, and we are going to be having a good time with this race. But that being said, we are going to be going underway, and our runners are now going to be getting started in just about 10 seconds. GLHF, everybody. Woo! All right. Woo, breathe. Okay. Sorry, I did like 3 hours of casting right before this. Oh, man. Good times. All right. So our runners are going to be underway. So starting off in Jedi Knight 2, we are actually not going to be starting off with like force powers and a lightsaber. However, what we're actually going to want to be doing as we're moving through, walking diagonally to move a little bit faster, is going to be going into these secret areas. And that's actually going to get us some nice points to be able to spend in between missions to be able to get force powers. And so some important force powers in general are going to be things like force speed, which is going to allow us to move faster, right? Because we're speed runners and we want to go fast. But then also force jump is going to be massive because it's going to allow us to build a metric bunch ton of height. But yeah, coming through here, our runners should be like pretty close as they're going to be starting in the early game. Not too much difficulty, but ooh, yeah. Alnak getting a little bit boxed there by the enemy. They are just going to have to wait for a little bit, but now they're still able to make that elevator cycle. Nicely done, as our runners are still going to be tied. Here, just sort of staying a little bit further to the right allows them to build speed and then jump to be able to not have to ride that elevator all the way. But here, yep, activating the button again is going to allow us to be able to enter the secret area and then work back up in order to try and be able to catch this elevator at specific cycles. So we're going to see on the left, yes, Alnak's able to get it. Ysalamiri is able to get it. And now we are going to be progressing further into this mission as we end up progressing and whacking a switch there. So grabbing some safety armor and stuff is going to be really important. Some enemies can really troll us and deal a lot of damage. We do want to be on a high amount of health as the Rodian falls down and just like, hey guys, look, I'm on TV, mom. And then they just quickly die altogether as we shoot our blaster in their face. But being on high health is going to be important because we're going to want to do some intentional damage boosts, especially with thermal detonators that we are going to be seeing a little bit later on. But yeah, nice jumps as they're going through, right? So jumping in the air preemptively is going to allow us to be able to fall down a little bit sooner, right? Because not only do we accelerate as we are starting to move sideways, but also as we're falling down. And so Ysalamiri just having a little bit cleaner movement here, a little bit better luck with these enemies as Alnak is continuing to get trolled, is going to have a very slight lead, but it's just a matter of single seconds so far. All right, but upcoming here, Ysalamiri is going to be coming up, shooting some more shots, because this is, of course, Kessel Run, taking down the civilian. Ysalamiri, man, that was so mean. That lady was just going, but no, Alnak is going to be good-natured and sparing that their civilian as they're progressing through. So major just manner points over in Alnak's favor, as Ysalamiri is going to be the first to be able to finish the first level. But here on the second mission is going to be really intense as we're going through, is because there's going to be a number of things that we are going to want to land, as well as difficult sequence breaks that we are going to go for. So coming through this pipe section on the right, we are going to see Ysalamiri just continuing to work through, knowing exactly where to go. Nice jump there to mitigate having to go around in order to be able to get some thermal detonators as well as some shields. So once again, high health is very, very important, but then also these thermal detonators are going to be very, very important. Because as you imagine, right, we're going to be getting force jump a little bit later on to be able to jump very high. But until then, we just have explosives. But oh boy, getting a little box there by the enemies, but not able to get through. Grabs that back to tank there, and just really nicely done. But yeah, oh boy. So Alnak, nice jump there on the left to be able to get over those enemies. Definitely was able to get through, but no, gets a little boxed by those enemies. But both of our runners have high health, and oh my goodness, Ysalamiri getting the thermal detonator jump first try, but it's not over because they are now going for a second one. Oh, beautiful. That was so good. Just absolutely nominative. But on the left, Oh no, Alnak not quite getting the timing that they want. Oh, gets it second try. Absolutely nice. That is incredibly difficult. And instead of doing that second thermal detonator jump that we saw from Ysalamiri, they are just going to wait for this moving platform to catch up and then jump up here in order to be able to press that button, shooting the droid because, yeah, we don't like droids here. This is just like Mandalorian, where we are incredibly mean against droids. But on the right, Ysalamiri going for the next TD jump. This is incredibly precise. Gets up second try. Beautiful stuff. And so if Alnak wants to be able to keep pace here, they need to grab this. So eyes on the left, Alnak going up. They land the thermal, and they're able to land their first try. Let's go, dude. That was so incredibly impressive. And they are able to nail that platforming there as well. Beautiful stuff from both of our runners, both of them putting on an impressive display so far in this Dark Forces 2 speedrun. Awesome stuff. Woo! Yeah, it's like, I cannot understate this enough, right? Those thermal detonator jumps, it's incredibly, incredibly precise. Not only after the first thermal detonator jump, you need to jump precisely as the thermal detonator explodes, but you also have to land that second thermal detonator timing as Ysalamiri now going for another one. Yeah, look at this, not quite getting enough height, and that's purely because the timing for the TD throw is off. The timing for the jump is off. They really do need to be in a position, and oh man, Ysalamiri is struggling with this, so they are now going to end up backloading because the first thermal detonator was not in a good spot, and Alnak able to take the lead here in this level, just nailing that first thermal detonator and the second thermal detonator jump, but Ysalamiri is hot on his heels. Wow, what an incredible race so far, and this is just like, what, the third level? And we get to do this for another, like, 30 minutes, chat. Like, this is so epic. I love this. Oh boy, okay. Oh, Ysalamiri just finishing the mission and taking a death in order to have a cuddle puddle with the enemy there. I love it. I love it. What flavor, what fun. But oh, on the left, nice jump from Alnak. Pretty sizable sequence break there and very precise jump. That is not as easy as it looks because it's very easy to bonk your head on a ceiling. But on the right, now Ysalamiri is going to be coming up to that same jump that we just saw from Alnak. So we're going to see how they end up doing. But nice pacing, nice movement so far from both of our runners in this mission. Nice thermal detonator jump from Ysalamiri on the right, but they're coming, oh yeah, into the sewage water, which is going to also cause our runners to take a little bit damage. But no, Ysalamiri just had to do one quick load back in order to get through. But really nice level from Alnak there. Like, that was like just textbook. And this is very nominative of Alnak, just being able to show up and push out these consistent timings, especially for speedruns. As now we are going to see our first instance of force speed. But Alnak, just a seasoned performer, has done a lot of marathon performances, has run this game actually at GDQ, and Ysalamiri also has run this game at GDQ. I believe these are the only two runners to have ever performed this on a stage as big as that. But it's just absolutely nominative of Alnak to just put on this textbook consistent play. But man, Ysalamiri as well, just seconds behind from their opponent. Just very, very impressive to see. As we are now using force speed. So some fun things about force speed, the higher the level that we end up leveling up force speed, the faster we're going to be moving. And the faster we move, the scarier it can actually be. Makes it harder, right? Wrapping around those corners at really precise timings in order to be able to shorten the distance as much as possible, right? Shorter the amount of distance, less space that you actually have to end up traveling, the faster you end up going through the speed game. But here, big jump here that we're going to potentially see in a little bit from both of our runners that I will point out when we get to it. Which is right here. Watch this. Thermal detonator with force speed. Oh no! Alnak, Ysalamiri not getting it first try. Neck and neck, literally tied by frames. Alnak is able to get it second try while Ysalamiri is still going. Third try for Ysalamiri. So Alnak just still clinging on by just a couple of seconds in the lead in this race here as they are progressing towards the mid game of the run. But yeah, force speed, right? The faster you end up moving, the scarier it is for the speed game, and the harder it is to do optimal movement. But not only that, if you're moving fast, right, and you end up falling, right, there's this thing as fall damage within a video game, which is also present in this game, right? But not only is there fall damage by falling really fast and hitting a floor, but there is like inverted fall damage where you run and like plant your face into a wall, right? So if you're actually moving very fast and you hit a wall, you take damage, right? And that damage ends up adding up and can be very scary. But cool sequence break here. Our runners are going to be taking intentional death using the explosion to shove their corpses through the doors as we see the same blood splatter frame from both of our runners. And this is going to actually trigger the end of the mission. And as long as we don't end up loading the game there, the mission will just end. And then we are going to upgrade 2 more points into force speed in order to be able to progress through. Woo, man. These runners are moving quicker than I can actually speak words. I'm just going to take a quick sip of water and breathe for like 2 seconds. Oh my goodness. All right, good stuff. So now that we're in the mid-game portion, some nice thermal detonator jumps from both of our runners. This Ysalamiri is now going to be ahead of Alnak just by a number of frames over their opponent and able to quickly finish that mission by doing a nice jump there. But oh, that jump was so close from Ysalamiri, but no, they are going to be doing the same movement, and this is literally tied. Chat, I cannot make this up enough. This race is so incredibly close. Both of these runners just showing their prowess, showing their consistency in a race setting. And this is it, right? This is it. You get one shot in a tournament, and this is no tournament. This is a single race. So one of them's going to walk away with the bragging rights, and it's just too close to call at this point. And especially with a mid to late game as difficult as this game, it is going to be important. Like, look at that. Alnak just getting up there with the first try is going to allow them. And do they get the jump? Yes, Alnak just barely gets over. Ysalamiri gets a little bit of a faster jump, so they are going to tie it back up. Oh, my goodness. Here, okay, watch this. This jump here, incredibly precise. One jump to get on the platform, one more jump, and yes, they're both able to get it. First try, that I cannot hype that up enough. That was just so incredibly close. And now we're going to be activating the elevator button, and while we wait for that elevator, we are going to be doing sword slashes. And this is not because we have anything against this wall. Like, look, this staircase did nothing wrong, okay? So leave the staircase alone, chat. Like, this staircase is totally fine. It's more so to just sort of count out as we wait for the elevator to open up, right? Because it is a specific amount of time that is literally an auto scroller after we hit the button for the amount of time that it takes for that elevator to open. So Ysalamiri is going to be the first one to come into this boss fight and watch the start of this fight. They are going to actually be skipping a specific portion of this initial phase, which is going to allow them to take a very, very fast boss fight. So there we spec into force jump in order to be able to jump really, really high. And this is going to be the first instance where it's going to allow us to do some really cool tech. So here the boss is going to jump at the start, and then jumping as well with the boss is going to allow us to be able to put the boss in a specific spot. Beautiful fight from Ysalamiri. And is Alnak going to get a really fast fight? Oh no, the boss is trolling Alnak, and so they are going to take a slightly slower fight, grabbing some health in order to be able to go a little bit quicker. And oh no, Ysalamiri is having some trouble with this jump. No, they're able to get up here. But oh, here's my favorite trick in the entire speed run. So here, Ysalamiri is going to set up in a really specific spot. And if you remember that big explosion where they just shove themselves through doors, well, the endpoint trigger is going to be directly over there. So placing the trip mines and the floating corpse, oh, not quite a good enough position for Ysalamiri. It's a really particular spot that they need to land, and he's able to hit it. So now we're going to take a little bit of a nap time and wait for the mission to end. But is Alnak able to match the execution of Ysalamiri? Wow, and he does it even better. First try for Alnak. Very nicely done. Absolutely beautiful. So as we're coming into the next mission, as we are now 12 minutes and 30 seconds into this race, we are going to be very, very close. Ysalamiri with a very slight lead, but less than double-digit seconds between these two runners. And with an early in a start of the mid-game as complex, as difficult, as technical as it is in Dark Forces 2, just incredibly impressive to see both of the runners perform this well. So they're just maxing out force speed. Force jump is going to allow us to jump for a little bit higher, move a little bit quicker. But as I mentioned, the faster we're moving, the more damage that we'll actually end up taking. So nice slowdown there from Ysalamiri to just make sure. Yeah, and so Ysalamiri just ran into a wall and ended up taking some damage there from force speed and took a little bit more damage from that fall there. And oh yeah, Alnak just taking 5 damage by running into a door there. But yeah, here on this level, it's just going to showcase off just how technical and how beautiful this movement is when you're attempting to optimize a game like Dark Forces 2. So just watch as both of our runners are going to be going around corners, falling in really specific spots, right? Activating these elevators at specific times, activating the switches, and then just waiting and grabbing these cycles at really, really precise times. It is incredibly impressive to see runners of this caliber to be able to perform this here speed game. But yeah, just waiting sort of on an elevator cycle here. in order to be able to progress with the missions itself. As we see Ysalamiri just spamming the use function as they're just waiting. Yeah, there's Alnak on the left doing the same thing, just trying to wait for a very particular time. And oh yeah, very cool here, Ysalamiri's and Alnak. I mean, usually in a race, I'm like, okay, eyes to the right, look at this. And then I explain the thing that's going on, but both of the runners are like neck and neck. So I can just be like, look wherever you want, chat. Look wherever you want. Like both of the runners here in this sewage section are going to be actually moving through these ducts and doing this switch puzzle in a very, very, very particular cadence and very particular time, waiting for certain things to open and close at really particular times in order to be able to get through this very, very quickly. So impressive stuff from both of the runners. They just know this stuff. They're very comfortable with the game and using audio cues in order to be able to know exactly when they want to be able to move on. So Ysalamiri still in the lead, just a number of seconds here between them and their opponent. But here is going to be a segment with some really, really particular movement that I am looking forward to. So on the right, Ysalamiri is now going to be taking this elevator up and then walking off of it as the elevator is going to be moving up ahead of them. Then coming up this elevator, doing a damage boost at a particular time. Look at that. Just barely enough height on that explosion boost to be able to measure their distance. So the sooner they land on the ground, the sooner that they can effectively start using that force speed. So on the left, Alnak going for the explosive boost as well. Doesn't quite get the one that they want. But yeah, nice landing there, getting up their second try. But on the right, we're going to see a boost as well as a number of force jumps, which when you start a level, you have a particular number of force jumps that you can use, a particular number of force speeds that you can use. So doing that explosive boost there is going to allow Ysalamiri to just be able to move up in a really particular fashion to just optimize their resources. So here, Alnak, instead of doing an explosive boost, they are just going to opt to go for the jumps themselves. And look at that, just knowing that they don't have another force jump, but just landing perfectly to be able to utilize just a normal hop in order to be able to close that very last bit of distance. Beautiful optimization from Alnak as they are going to be progressing through and trying to close that distance versus their opponent. But this level is probably one of my favorite movement-wise, just with explosive boosting, with force jumps, with really particular like routing and doors and stuff like that. It's just very technical, very difficult. So if there was a place where I would not want to face a runner like Ysalamiri on, it would be a level like this, because Ysalamiri is just like known in speedrunning communities to be able to nail all of these incredibly difficult sequence breaks, as he just shows a really, really cool sequence break there to be able to skip the red room, which was absolutely massive. And then here, it's going to be honestly one of the more annoying boss fights in a normal playthrough, I believe, but it's just... we just use force powers in order to quick it up. But on the left, we're going to see if Alnak is able to get the sequence break first try. They do the force jump in order to get up, and then the explosive boost. No, they don't get the knockback that they were hoping for with that sequence break. So they are going to have to retry the movement to get back into position. Here they do opt to quick save just in case they miss it a second time. Yeah, Alnak just having a little bit of trouble on this skip that we saw. Ysalamiri be able to close out first try, but they're able to get it third try. So Alnak is going to have to make up that time loss if they want to hope to be able to catch up to Ysalamiri as we start entering into the latter portions of the run, which is going to have some really difficult boss fights, but then also just more incredibly technical, incredibly difficult movement. Woo! Okay, breathe, Muffin. Breathe. I actually have to do this thing where I remind myself to breathe. Otherwise, like I just don't. And I just like circular breathe and then just continue to commentate. And then just get really lightheaded and like pass out. Like this one run for a marathon. I think it was for an online marathon. I just forgot to breathe. And then I started to get like the fuzzies in front of my eyes. And I was just like in the head rush. And I was like, oh, maybe I should breathe. So I always like to remind myself every now and then. All right, great. But there's no time for breathing because we're speed running. So here, Ysalamiri is going to be in the lead. They're going to come through to be able to get some additional resources with the health, with the energy, as they are going to be progressing through into this mission. Here is going to be some really tight platforming, and it's important to mention that when you're in the air, you do not have any control of the movement. So WASD, yeah, that's not really going to do anything. So you need to taper that. You need to control your speed before the jump. You need to control your angle, and then you also need to control exactly where you're standing. And then when all three of these combine, that's right, we finish Captain Force Planet, which is going to allow us to be able to nail these force jumps and be able to do these really tight platforming sections and sequence breaks. So here on the right, we're going to see an incredibly difficult jump here. Nicely done from Ysalamiri, as now Alnak is also going to be showcasing this off as he goes out of bounds. Oh, beautiful textures there with that purple sky. Thank you, Alnak. But yeah, here, watch Alnak. Beautiful landing on that platform there. Beautiful landing on that second jump as they just nail those and make them look incredibly easy. But here, Ysalamiri is now going to be facing off versus their next boss fight, which is going to be just this, like, torso. And so this guy ended up skipping leg day, and because of that, they ended up losing their legs. So that's right, chat. Don't forget leg day. Don't skip leg day, chat. All right. Otherwise, you'll end up like this guy. I mean, like, hovering around and like floating around, that would be pretty cool. But yeah, for the sake of the speedrun, that is uncool. So what we're going to do is now he's going to get close over here, start doing the spinny attack. We're going to hit him with boxes. Then as he's flying away, we just throw a bunch of boxes at him. Shame on you. That's what you get for skipping leg day. But now that we ended up killing the legless bandit, as I like to call him, the ship is now going to be tilted on the side, and so we are going to have to navigate back through as we are going to be heading to our ship before the ship ends up exploding, as Alnak is now going to be facing against the legless bandit. As Ysalamiri, nice movement there. Now is just going to be timing out exactly when he wants to jump by using the cooldown of that weapon. Now going to be utilizing a visual cue here as he's waiting for the ship, and then jumping out is going to allow him to end the mission itself. So yeah, quick save just before the end, just in case he misses the jump. But now he's able to nail it, as now Alnak is going to be attacking once more and then throwing the boxes. Nice fight. Wow, nice box damage there from Alnak. That was actually a really good fight from Alnak. Really nicely done. Just absolutely textbook. As Ysalamiri on the right, this is actually a really cool optimization within recent years in this game, is actually speccing into Force Lightning and using it there. That we used to not actually do that. The fight used to be very, very different, but they found out that just utilizing Force Lightning, I can't remember if it was like Circles or Ysalamiri or somebody else who ended up discovering it. Maybe it was even Alnak. But utilizing Force Lightning on that fight actually makes it a lot faster, but then also a lot safer, which is very, very cool. But yeah, as Alnak is just going to be waiting for the ship to drop as well. They are then going to jump out, end of the mission, and then taking this boss fight that we saw Ysalamiri put on a Force Lightning clinic with as well. So getting the boss into a specific spot, Alnak is going to be utilizing the Force Lightning there. Yeah. Oh, it's blinding. That's okay. Sorry for your eyes, chat. Sorry for your eyes. That's okay. That's okay. But yeah, nice movement so far from Ysalamiri on this level. Just nice jumps there, right? Jumping ahead to just know exactly the amount of height that they had to be able to land on that slope in order to be able to reduce the amount of distance that they have to travel in that specific leg. But here, yeah, just holding diagonal is going to actually allow us on the right to be able to walk through this wind tunnel. If you're just holding a single movement key, then you actually can't do that and the wind will push you out. But just simply utilizing that extra little bit of speed we get from diagonal walking allows us to get in there, which is very, very cool. It's honestly one of my favorite sequence breaks because it's like, hold diagonal, forehead. Cool, good stuff. But yeah, nice movement so far from Ysalamiri on this level as they are coming up to this next section. Yeah, ending that level. And now they're going to be waiting for this elevator in order to get high enough. And then jumping up is going to allow them to be able to progress through. High-fiving that lightsaber in the head, that stormtrooper in the head, that one in the back. And we are now just continuing through. So up here on the left, we are now going to see, once again, one of my favorite sequence breaks in this run. We're holding the diagonal walking for Alnak's going to allow them to be able to move through, as well as utilizing that force speed. Good stuff, good stuff. All right, so Ysalamiri is going to be still in the lead, and we're able to further capitalize on their lead, but having a little bit of trouble being able to get past those stormtroopers is going to give Alnak a little bit of time if they're able to have a little bit cleaner movement going through that segment. But I mean, still, Ysalamiri is in a commanding lead, almost a full level ahead of their opponent. As, ooh, nice fall there, landing on the slope is going to mitigate a good amount of fall damage for Ysalamiri. Nice explosive boost there, it's like right under their feet, in order to be able to utilize that force speed to like jettison themselves over a small little lip. in order to be able to progress towards that button. Just each of these tiny little bits of optimization, right? A slight boost from that explosive in order to build a little bit of height. Wow, nice fall there from Ysalamiri. All of these can be incredibly scary. Nice explosive boost there, utilizing force jump. With jumping, using an explosion under his feet to be able to get a little bit of height. Yeah, using that explosion to build a little bit of speed as he was falling down as well, in order to be able to get into the end of the mission a little bit sooner. Then cocking a TD here. Oh, yeah, able to break that 4 in order to fall through. As on the left, Alnak going to be working through this level, activating the switch is going to be able to open this up, and then he's just going to move himself through this container as it's going to be falling, which is pretty funny. Is he going to land? He does, and he mitigates a metric bunch of fall damage there by landing in a very particular spot. Beautiful execution from Alnak there in that specific section. But yeah, here, once again, the movement's going to be really tight, really fluid, and so we're going to see how Alnak is going to be able to move through, as Ysalamiri is going to be the first one to be able to make it into the Sith Temple, as he is going to be working his way towards the final fight. But oh no! Alnak on the left accidentally falls down, bonks his head on a metal beam. But there, nice recovery, gets an explosive boost there, shoots that stormtrooper in the face. Sayonara, sucker. And they are going to be falling down through that wind tunnel segment, also taking an intentional death there as they are falling into that end mission trigger. But here is an ATST fight from Ysalamiri, taking it down, taking down the pilot, utilizing Force Lightning once again to be able to quick it up. Another cool application of Force Lightning, in all honesty, right? That was, the fight used to be completely different. But now here is going to be Bach on the right. And this used to be like an absolute RNG fiesta, absolutely scary. It still can be a little bit of a scary fight, but here Ysalamiri is just hoping that Bach is going to start jumping and coming through the section. Then he's going to explode the mines. Yep, there it is. And Bach, yeah, he gets Bach. Okay. So great Bach fight there from Ysalamiri, as they are going to be progressing through into the final fight within this speed run. So there is a little bit of setup on this, but time is going to be coming up in about, I want to say 20 seconds or so for Ysalamiri. So here we go. We're going to see Ysalamiri jump up. Then they're going to lay down more det packs here, hoping to lay down enough for the boss, as they are going to be coming up in this central elevator. Okay, yeah, there's a boss. And do they get it? No, not quite. Oh no, Ysalamiri is taking a death. And there it is. That is going to be time for Ysalamiri. In just a moment, their timer is still going. Sorry. Time. There it is. There is the credits. GG. Ysalamiri is going to be walking away in this here race of Dark Forces 2 for Kessel Run itself. But on the left, Alnak is not quite done yet. They are going to be going for a different Bach fight. Instead of using those det packs, they're going to be pushing all of those triangles into Bach's face. So nice fight there. I love seeing that fight in particular from Alnak. So very cool. We actually got to see two different types of fights between the two runners. So really, really cool stuff. As now Alnak is going to be coming into the final fight. So about 20 more seconds for Alnak here, as we are going to be coming into the final leg. So really hoping the boss isn't coming up here too soon. Alnak, really nice placement on those det packs. And yeah, good position there. And they're able to get the fight first try. Let's go, dude. So time's going to be coming up in a couple seconds. And to time with a 27:25. And just frames apart from being exactly a minute apart from our runners. Both runners with a sub 28, let alone a sub 27 for Ysalamiri. Incredibly impressive stuff. What an exciting race, especially during those early game portions. So major shout outs to both of these runners. So that being said, if you are interested, please give both of these runners a follow. I don't know if like a mod can like post both of the runners in the chat. But we may also get a chance to talk to both of our runners if they would like to come in for a quick, brief interview about the race itself. But yeah, give both of these runners a follow, Ysalamiri as well as Alnak. Both of them are incredible. And if you missed it, definitely go as I ping Alnak to interview. Give them a follow. And if you missed them, go check out their GDQ performances as well. Those were incredibly fun, incredibly amazing stuff. And I believe I was on couch for Ysalamiri's performance during one of them. Yeah, I was. But yeah, here we go. We are joined by both of our runners, Alnak, Piper, aka Ysalamiri, my friends. GG, what an incredible, what an exciting race, guys.
Wow,
what an incredible,
GG's Piper.
what an exciting race.
Congrats. Wow,
Yeah,
GG's Piper.
Congrats.
That was intense.
Yeah,
Only 1 minute of difference. That's actually closer than expected.
Yeah, it was really amazing. So a couple questions here. So first question for you, Alnak, right? Like, I mean, you just put on a clinic showcasing off a lot of amazing stuff. But in this race in particular, were you by any chance watching your opponent, or do you instead are in race settings? Are you just somebody who just tries to focus on their own game and just focus on what is in front of you on your game screen?
That's kind of funny because I don't have much experience with race in general. Like the very first race I ever done was like a couple of months ago, and it was like a multiplayer race. This was like the first like 1v1 race against someone else.
Wow.
So because I'm more like concentrated in doing like marathon runs and just providing commentary and all this stuff. So this was a different like environment. I can just concentrate here and commentate instead of commentating. I can just concentrate here and like be full focus in the game. No, I didn't watch any of Piper runs. If that's what you meant. I was just focusing, and like the last week, I just been playing, doing a few runs on myself, and that literally just practicing the hardest trick, which actually paid off. That level 2 was really good.
Really good. That's awesome. That's awesome. You actually answered like my second question was why don't you talk a little bit more about that? Because you are a prolific marathon runner, right? You've run this game for GDQ, you've run this for online marathons and stuff. What is sort of your preparation leading into sort of a marathon performance as well as a race? And did it vary for this one in particular because you were going to be racing instead of also doing commentary?
Preparation for marathons. Well, first of all, it's just grinding the game out, trying to be in shape for the marathon. Also, when it comes to commentary, I don't want to make you blush, but I watch your runs as well for inspiration.
Oh, thanks, man. Thank you.
Yeah, because you're one of my favorite commentators in marathon runs in general, and just trying to create bullet points and trying to just make a commentary out of that. That's pretty much it.
Cool. Okay. So a question for Ysalamiri. So I guess same sort of question that I asked Alnak first off. Were you watching your opponent or like, because you're an incredible speedrunner. Like anybody who is familiar with the Jedi Knight series knows this. But also like for this race in particular, were you watching your opponent during the thing, or were you just kind of buckled up and just like really focusing on nailing your mechanics and your own sort of game as a race style instead of focusing on what your opponent was doing?
Yeah, kind of like Alnak. I just kind of focused on what I'm doing. This game, there's a lot going on in this game, so there's not really any time to like look either way. But yeah, just mostly focusing on my stuff. The kind of the main thing is just trying to avoid, because I don't know, probably everyone noticed we probably both quick save a lot, so you constantly see that the game is quick saved. Trying to avoid, especially like in a marathon or like a race setting, trying to avoid making a bad quick save. I don't know if Alnak did the same thing as me, but I made a manual save at like the end of level 2 before like one of the last TD jumps, because
I did the same.
If you mess that up, then you either bite the loss of having to do the normal strat where you wait for the elevators, or you can reload your manual save and kind of go from there, because you only get one quick save.
And that was because Alnak wasn't watching Piper. I just want to like mention that like that actually saved Piper in this race. If he hadn't done that, Alnak, you probably would have won the race if he hadn't set up that hard save, because he did have to backload and utilize that.
It's a really finicky skip. I practiced a lot before, like an hour before doing this race. Only that trick because of that. Yeah, I'm glad it paid off for me.
Yeah, so off of that, like there were cool routing divergences. So last question for both of you before we allow our audience to move on to the next amazing speed run that we have in this marathon. Kessel run is going to be going all weekend, folks. So stay tuned for the next one after we're done. But one more question for each of you. So in terms of the race itself, because you're coming into a marathon run, you're coming into a race setting, are there specific routing consideration or strats that you end up going for or maybe not going for besides like the quick save, quick load tech that you mentioned for safety? So are there other sort of routing considerations that you make in prep for a race compared to when you're going for personal best times? Alnak, yeah, go ahead. You can start.
So you mean in a marathon setting or just in
Yeah, sure, just a race.
I play super safe at the beginning of the race. Like I grab every single pickup item. I grab like the shields, the health. At the beginning of level 2, I took a fall that made me lose like 20 HP. So for the rest of the level, I was just hoping that the Gamorreans, like the pigs, they won't hit me, because that really can mess up your the setup for like the upcoming TD jumps and the grenade jumps that you do in that level.
Right.
And just playing carefully as well. I grab a couple also the Baghdad tanks, which are like the things that restore a little bit of your health. I grab extra ones that I usually didn't do when I was grinding this game. And aside from that, there was a section before the first boss fight where I took a lot of shields when I was waiting for an elevator. And right when the elevator came down and I was opening the door, I realized I was super low in shields, so I decided just to quickly load, right? Because that really screws up like the upcoming 2 levels, the boss fight and also the next level with the Palace Escape, the one where you have the course flying to the end of the level.
I see. Okay. Yeah. And so how about for you, Ysalamiri? Are there like certain strats that you maybe omit or maybe you do go for compared to your personal best and a race setting?
Yeah, there were a couple tricks that I kind of skipped. Nothing like in particular to like point out to anyone, but like I did like make that consideration just because the risk reward kind of aspect of it isn't really worth it in a race setting.
Yeah.
And just going for the safe strats to minimize time losses is kind of my go-to in races, especially in like a setting like this.
Yeah, I love that mentality, especially for like marathon performances and races. Like what I do in personal best attempts is almost always going to be very, very different, like significantly different than what I might do in PB attempts. Cool. All right, folks. Well, that being said, Alnak, Piper, especially walking away with the win, but thank you so much as well, Alnak. Congratulations both on an incredible race, incredible performance. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks to you, Cory Muffin, for helping with commentary in a very short notice. I know you were doing an Ori race before this, so you must be tired.
Yeah, I mentioned to Twitch chat that I was casting for like 3 hours before this.
Oh my god, bro. Yeah. I really appreciate it, man.
Oh, heck yeah. Anytime. Yeah. Anytime, my friend. All right, folks. That being said, I am Covert Muffin, who is casting for the race of Alnak versus Piper. But that being said, Kessel Run is not over yet, folks. We still have an amazing weekend, full packed with incredible Star Wars speedruns. So stay tuned. We're going to take a quick break, maybe step up, go to the restroom, grab some water, take care of yourself, and we will see you in just a couple of minutes. GG.